Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Screening Room podcast. This is your host, Mike, and you're with my co host, Evan.
What's up, everyone?
And today we're going to be talking about the first Godfather movie.
Yeah, so this was actually a suggestion that Mike made, and it's because of the recent unfortunate passing of Mr. Robert Duvall, who, of course, is a major player in this movie. And I think both of us have been meaning to rewatch this, but now this gave us like a good excuse because his performance in this film is just, I mean, legendary, as is everyone else in this thing. So it was a good excuse to kind of circle back to it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. He did a great job as Tom Hagen in the film.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know who that is, it's the person on the black and white image that we have on screen. He's one of like Vito Corleone's, like, I'd say
He's
probably
his
like his top
consigliere
man.
for most of the film. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So did you want to start us off with some, I don't know what you want to start us off with, whatever you're feeling.
absolutely. I think, like last time, we'll start out with a general discussion, break it down into some fun trivia, and then give you guys our final review.
Absolutely, sounds good. I'll let you start with your take then.
All right. Well, I just got to say, this is a fantastic film. I haven't watched this film in a couple of years, and like we had mentioned with the recent passing of Robert Duvall, I wanted to go and rewatch this film, and I can tell you, I am for sure glad I went and rewatched it. This is one of the, dare I say it, one of the best films of the 20th century, and possibly ever put to the screen. Just the intricate story, the amazing cast, and then the iconic score alone should make this like a necessity for every cinematic buff or just a casual moviegoer fan. And I think everyone can appreciate the intricacy of the story and that really takes its time to flesh out all their characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, building off what you said, I mean, it goes without saying at this point, everyone knows the movie, if even if they haven't seen it. But I believe when I was doing a little bit of research for this, as always, you did much more than I did. But it looks like it's the top, it's I think it's the second highest rated movie of all time on IMDb. I forget what
Mm.
the exact like star, it's like a 9 point something, but I don't remember what number one is, but it's one of the most impactful movies of all time. It's what's the word? Like parodied all the time. I mean, just recently in Zootopia, even Zootopia 2, they did a
Oh
parody
yeah,
of
that's
it.
right.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, and I mean, like you said, I mean, I'm just kind of copying what you said, but you just put it so well that I mean, I really have nothing to add in that regard. It's an all-star cast. You have, of course, Marlon Brando, you have Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, just a star-studded cast. And I think part of, and this is going to like sort of lean into some of your fun facts, which again, Mike so graciously provided for us. Um, I think part of it, I mean, obviously it's based on a book, which I know you've read. I have not. So that's part of it, but also,
fantastic book, by the way.
yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later because I'm sure you'll have some comparisons to make between the two. But also on the set of the film while they were shooting it, the mob was actually like present while they were shooting it, um, which I feel like may have incidentally like added an extra layer of authenticity to the film. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It helped build the film's on and off camera screen presence. It helped establish it as something that is more than just a movie, and it bleeds into real life in ways, the writers, the crew, and then even the audience didn't even expect at the time.
Yeah, no, because this was 1972, I want to say.
72, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
1972.
Yeah. I mean, this was just like, I want to call it epic filmmaking. It's not epic filmmaking the same way something like 2001: A Space Odyssey is, which came out a couple years prior, but like it's epic filmmaking just narrative wise. I don't
Yeah.
think
This
anything
is
like this had really been done before. You know what I mean?
No, this really launched the crime saga type of a film. It eventually like inspired later on movies like Goodfellas or even another Al Pacino project like Scarface. This the book by Mario Puzo and then the film by Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola really helped inspire like a completely new genre to put out to the mass audiences in terms of cinematic appeal. Because, like we had said before, this is something that really wasn't done, or if it was, not done often. And I feel like this movie helped propel that out there. You know,
Yeah, no. And I feel like I'm not sure if you stumbled upon this in any of your research, but and I could be very wrong about this, but wasn't it like was it widely considered like well received when it first debuted, or did it have like any sort of controversy surrounding it?
as far as I could find, everyone was very enthusiastic about the film. Actually, the sequel had been greenlit. This is going to bleed into our trivia section for a little while, but the sequel had actually been greenlit um, just before the movie came out.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
And
Oh, sorry, keep going.
oh no, I was just going to say that you know, again, this is a section from our trivia bit, but well, we have more to share too. But that Paramount was actually so confident in the film's initial release that they had purchased the film rights to the script from Mario Puzo when the book was just a 20-page outline.
That's insane to me. And I mean, what I was gonna say was, I know we were talking about this last night that the book again, I haven't actually read it. You have, but from what you told me, the book covers all of Godfather 1 and like the start of Godfather 2. But then because Mario Puzo, who wrote the book, is also writing the script for the two movies, or did he also do the third one? Or did he just do
I'm
one
not
and two?
confident on the third one. I believe just one and two, but I could be incorrect. Fact check us in the comments, please.
Yeah. But anyway, like because he was writing Godfather 2, he just kind of decided not to make a book and just decided just to write the screenplay, which I mean, I feel like is fair. And I know a lot of people will actually consider Godfather 2 to be the better film. I know that's like, I don't know, I don't want to say a hot debate, but if you ask anyone, like they'll give you a different answer. I actually, it's been a while since I've seen Godfather 2, so I can't really comment, but I did get to see it um, at a theater a couple years ago. And they're very different. Like what I liked about the first one was it was ultimately about Al Pacino's character Michael Corleone, who didn't want anything to do really with this like mob style. He was like what he was in the Marines, right? Like some branch of the military.
Yeah, it was
Um,
an army vet from World War II.
oh, an army vet. Okay, I don't know where I got Marines from, but yeah, okay. So he was in the army, and then he he wanted to like have a legitimate life, and then shit hit the fan and he ended up just becoming the Godfather. And I remember even when he got back from Italy, he was saying that he wanted to like transition the family business to be completely legitimate within 5 years, which part of it was he was like lying to that girl, but I think he genuinely
Yeah,
did mean
Kay.
it. Kay, that's right. Um,
Yeah,
I,
played by the late and great Diane Keaton.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not great with my names, but yeah, no, I think obviously part of it was he was lying, but also I feel like deep down he genuinely wanted to make it legitimate. And by the end he just had no choice. And then we had that like awesome montage where he's like at the church while the kid's being baptized, and his meanwhile it's like cross-cutting to his men just taking out all the rival gang members. It's really good. And then obviously that leads into the second one where he's just a complete menace.
Oh
But I
yeah,
really like that story about, it's kind of like the reverse of like like the reluctant hero's journey, where like they're reluctant to.
it's a fall from grace story. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
more of a tragedy where you have this like white knight, this like pure soul, but he's forced to get down and dirty and then go into the underbellies of crime. It's more like a see, I view this as more of like a tragedy more than anything for this film. As someone who wanted to stay on the right and narrow, but got sucked in through just the shenanigans of, working for the underworld.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a better way to put it than what I did. But no, yeah, and I think that's just what makes this movie so good. It's, it shows what happens to someone as good as Michael when he's just tempted with this power. And like, I wouldn't even say tempted necessarily. Like the power was kind of like thrust upon him because there was
Forced
no
into
one
him.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was no one else to like take it after Vito passed. Um,
yeah. And his brother Sonny, played by James Caan, did, but we all know how that went if you've seen the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Which again, I we're gonna be like referencing some spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen it, I would highly, highly suggest going to watch it. I would imagine it's probably on Paramount Plus. I think it's a Paramount movie. Otherwise, pick it up on Blu-ray or something. That's actually a talking point
Absolutely.
I'll bring up later, but in our fun facts section. But yeah, no, you have been warned. We will be at least like
Yeah, this
mentioning
will be
some
a spoiler
spoilers.
review.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you have any like final thoughts you wanted to add to like your thoughts on the movie itself before we get into some fun facts?
Actually, yes. Overall, with the movie, I was really impressed with. I like the cinematography in this film a lot. A lot of the see, one thing I think it does really well is it does a lot of these establishing shots for each character. I want to briefly mention the intro scene with Marlon Brando as Vito Corleone. How it's at the very beginning where you see the Undertaker go and ask him for the favor to go. Initially, it was to murder the man who beat up his daughter, but they later settled on them just beating him up. But it helped really establish the character of Vito, where he was able to show the lethality that he had as a mob boss, but also the sincerity he has as a family man, with it being the backdrop of a wedding for his daughter. And that really set the stage for what kind of a film this is going to be, where each character isn't like a straightforward, like a caricature or anything like that, where they're all really lived in characters where you could see them as if they were like a real person.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And actually, like, I guess this is sort of a fun fact, but it is building on what you said about the cinematography. I don't know if this is something you got in your notes, but it just reminded me of something I heard a while ago. I guess my understanding is, what's the Francis Ford Coppola's cinematographer? They used like a specific type of 35 millimeter film stock to where I guess the studio was not very happy with how like visually dark the movie was, but to prevent them from like messing with it like photochemically to like change it and brighten it up, they used a type of film stock that like literally made it impossible with 70s technology to like brighten up the image. So like when they produced like they had complete control over how it looked. I don't know what the name of that film stock is or like what the technical aspects are. I just know that they somehow got around, I think it was Paramount, but whatever studio it was,
It was
not
Paramount, yeah.
yeah, Paramount not liking the look of the movie because they kind of cheekily used this film stock that like literally would not change color, which I think is like really good. And I'm glad that they stuck to their guns because, like you said, it's just such an iconic look. I like how like
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the poster for example. I mean that's kind of how he looks in that scene that you're talking about. He just really like disappears into the background. It's great.
Yeah. And another thing I'd like to talk about too, with this film is the use of violence in this film. There's a decent chunk of it throughout the film, but it is also about 3 hours long. But it's used sparingly in the film, and when it's used, it's really used to drive home a point. Like for example, with like we had mentioned the christening earlier, just to show the just the like to build up to a finale. There took out everyone that had been previously established as a threat to the Corleone family at the very end. the death of Sonny at the traffic stop, just the gruesome nature of how that went, really hammers home the consequences of every character's actions and helps build the stakes throughout the film as well. And that's something that I think isn't as, I don't want to say as common in media today, but it's something that the pacing is definitely, it stands out more in this film than anything I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like the Batman, for example, because both run times of these two movies, the Batman and Godfather, are pretty similar. They're both like around the 3 hour mark, and they both don't have a lot of action, but when they do have action, it's like it hits you heavier. You know what I mean? Like it stands out more.
Yeah,
Um, and honestly, I don't think they really need that much. Like, I mean, the action that they have is great, but like even the non-action bits still feel like, at least for me, like I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm invested because there's always shit going on, and there's even like more subtle stuff. Like I wouldn't necessarily consider the scene where like the movie studio guy wakes up with the the horse head under his sheets to be like an action scene, but it's still like an intriguing scene. And I feel like that can be said about a lot of the other scenes, like the hospital scene where Michael's trying to like move his dad because he's not protected, and he thinks that the police chief was like paid off or something, and he's trying to like get him out. Like there's not really a ton of like action in that, but it's like it's very like
high
adrenaline.
stakes. It's very high
Yeah,
stakes.
yeah, exactly. So I feel like they still just did, like you said, just a great job with the pacing. I got to agree.
Yeah. And it's just to be said too that this is an all-star cast, and a lot of these folks, like Al Pacino in particular, this was their debut like breakout role for some people. And I know Al Pacino, this was like his first major role, and this is, or dare I say it, the film that started his career out. It brought him into the public consciousness as this big Hollywood type actor, and this is what kind of kicked everything off for
Did I forget, did this movie come out before or after Dog Day Afternoon? It okay, before. I'm looking at it now. 1975 is Dog Day Afternoon. So, okay, yeah. So I guess it really was Al Pacino's like
him. Yeah,
first kind of big role. That's crazy. And he did such a
yeah,
good job. I mean, I'm sure he did some like smaller stuff. I don't know that for a fact, but I mean, still though, like for his first like I don't want to say
cinematic debut.
blockbuster, yeah, like big leading role sort of. Yeah, I mean he killed it. Um, and he only gets better. I mean, again, check out Godfather 2. He's even better in that one. He's just such a
That
like
might have to be
cold-hearted
another review
menace.
as in itself. Oh, absolutely. And it's
Yeah,
just a interesting juxtaposition compared to how we started out at the very beginning of the film, at the until the very end in that final scene when they're moving to Nevada. It's almost like they're two different characters. If you didn't watch the film and you had no idea, they'd be like two different people.
right. It's like, and it's such a slow burn because when he's sent to assassinate, I forget the guy's his name, but the guy like before he has to hide in Italy, um, you can tell that he's like reluctant to do it. He because I feel like that was probably the first like major jump off the cliff into him becoming like the
And
mob
to
boss
the
that we know.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um
he actually also helped suggest it originally. And I think as soon as he said that, I think that's how you knew something was going to happen with his character. And that he's not going to be the same, um, casual civilian character anymore. And he's going to start playing by his family's rules.
exactly, cuz like up until that point like it wasn't just like the Corleone family. It was like all the other mob families. They recognized Michael as a civilian. He wasn't involved whatsoever. And then that was like the big turning point, just like that. I feel like once it's one of those things where like once you start, you're just in there. And then
You can't get out.
yeah, and then he just kept going and going. He like from there on, like the decisions that he made just kept coming, the bad decisions, I should say, or the evil decisions. They just kept coming more frequently until obviously in the end he just becomes the Michael Corleone that is like the mob boss Michael Corleone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's like you said, it's like a tragedy. It's almost like it kind of reminds me of like the whole Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader thing, which I know is like cliche, but I mean, I feel like it's almost a cliche for a reason. It's because it's such a good story, and this was one of the first like big examples of that. Because obviously this predates Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really is good. With that being said, unless you have anything else to add, do you want to switch over to go all in on the trivia?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, yeah, kick us off.
Okay. Well, I know we had mentioned the runtime earlier. It was about 3 hours long, but surprisingly, Marlon Brando was on screen for less than 1 hour in the film. That just goes to show you how well his presence was in the film, as well as how well written the character of Vito Corleone truly was.
I guess I wouldn't have even. You're right. Now that I think, because yeah, he was
Yeah.
either because like he was shot relatively early on, like in the first hour, I think,
Yeah.
and then
And
he
then he
was
was in the hospital for a
hospitalized,
while, too.
and then he was sick, and then he died. Yeah, you're right. That's crazy, and he's
Yeah.
literally on the poster of the movie.
Top
Like
billing.
that's crazy. I wonder, did you catch who does have the most screen time, or I wonder like who it would
I did
be.
not know. I didn't catch who had the most screen time.
That's crazy though, man.
Yeah.
No,
And I
that's.
I also mentioned too how Paramount had bought the rights to the film before it was even written, the book.
Hmm.
Well, just 3 years after the book was published was when they started filming. So there was a 3 year turnaround from when the book was actually published in 1960 to when the film started actually, getting on the ground and filming in 71. But another thing I'd like to mention too is just I remember how I mentioned earlier on where with like Al Pacino and some of the other cast members had made their like debuting roles in this. Well, Al Pacino, James Caan, who played Sonny Corleone, Michael's like bigger brother in the film, and then Diane Keaton, who played Kay, Michael's original love interest. All three were paid just $35,000 for their performance in this film,
Yeah, let me guess.
which is just
Marlon Brando
insane to
got
think about.
like bank.
I didn't get his salary on this one, but
I'm guessing that's
it's
where
just
a
crazy
lot
to
of the
think
budget went.
potentially.
Yeah,
Um, Speaking of Marlon Brando, I have some trivia just about him too. Um,
let's hear it.
that when Marlon Brando originally tried out for the role, he had stuffed cotton in his mouth to try to make Vito, quote unquote, look like a bulldog in the auditions, just to make him seem a little bit more intimidating and unique. And the director liked it so much that Dick Smith, who was a prop maker, had made a special mouthpiece for Marlon Brando to give him that iconic look and help with the voice.
See,
But another infamous thing about Brando is that he infamously didn't memorize all of his lines for the film, and at some point, he would even have several cast members wear cue cards for the film. And he's widely considered one of the first method actors.
so yeah, that actually that reminds me of like I guess a funny story. I remember The Godfather was my first like exposure. I mean, Superman was my first exposure to Marlon Brando in hindsight, but like Godfather was the first exposure I had to him where like I knew who it was. So I just assumed that his face looked like that. Um, I didn't realize until later that like, oh, that was just like some prosthetic thing he had on. Like I thought maybe they did makeup in Superman to make him look like the way he normally does.
Yeah,
I didn't realize like that's how good the prosthetic is, and it works so
yeah,
well. It makes his character just seem even more, I guess, intimidating or yeah, just
unique too. Yeah,
unique. Yeah, no, that's a
Mhm.
good way of putting it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and a
no,
lot of
it's
things for the. Mhm.
oh no, no, you're good. I was just gonna ramble.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying. another thing too about this film is a lot of stuff on set was actually ad libbed. Two of the things that I really wanted to mention too was well, just one thing to start. The iconic line, take the gun, leave the cannoli. That whole line was ad libbed too while we were filming on the day. And then the it's even in our poster right now. The iconic pet cat that Vito Corleone had in the very beginning that he was petting was actually a stray they found on set. And it got a liking to Marlon Brando, and he decided to just take it in for a scene just to try it out and made it into the final cut. And actually, like I said, right on our poster.
I wonder if that was inspired by. I know you haven't seen these movies, but like Blofeld from the Bond movies, where he always has like the cat in his in his hands, and he's like kind of like caressing it or like petting it or whatever. Like, I wonder if that was like inspired by that at all. Because it does add
Potentially,
like,
but
yeah, I don't know, it does add like sort of a weird. I don't know if weird's the right word, but like an ominous kind of like feel
feeling
to it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And I
makes his
think,
characters seem more three-dimensional.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it kind of hints at the, I don't want to say fun side of him, but like, I feel like the side that maybe even he doesn't necessarily like in himself. We kind of saw that later too with when he was playing with, was it his like granddaughter or like the kid when
His
he like
grandson Anthony, yeah, in the
grandson, that's
tomato
it.
garden.
Right.
Yeah,
Which like is so, and I mean I get that like he had pretty much stepped down from his mafia role at that point, but it still showed like the human side to him that he could do something as, I guess, innocent as play with a little kid. But this is also the same guy that frequently orders hits on people, so I don't know, I like the
yeah,
kind
it
of
really showed his
duality.
exactly. It showed that despite the fact that he was this infamous mob boss, he was also a family man as well.
Yeah, no, and I feel like that's kind of like a centric. I know that's like a big thing with like Italian families in general. So I think they really
Hmm.
just kind of made it. They really hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah,
And it's just
despite
iconic.
all the action and then all the wild stuff that happened in this film, family is another thing that was important in the film as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, like ultimately, the main like cast is supposed to be just this one big family, and I mean, they literally, it's very deliberate. The movie literally opens, like you said, with the giant wedding. To and they make a whole point of Al Pacino having lines when he's talking to, was it his girlfriend, right? Not wife yet,
Yes, his
girlfriend.
girlfriend at the time. Yeah, at the time at
Yeah.
the scene. Yeah.
His girlfriend, where he's like specifically introducing everyone. He's like, "Yep, this is Luca. This is blah blah blah," and he's kind of explaining like what all their roles are, and that's to cue the audience naturally into who these people are. That's because that's important. It's like the core of the narrative. So yeah, it's almost,
Yeah,
it's in a weird way. It's like a family film. That's how you can justify
kind of,
watching it with the family.
kind of.
Yeah. Did you have any
But
other
yeah,
facts that you wanted to bring up?
that's all I had today, and I am ready to give my final review.
Yeah. So one last, I have one. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call it a fact, but it's a. I guess it's like a cool, fun factoid. More like a recommendation, I guess. Before we get into the final review, if any of you guys are interested in like film archiving or film restoration, there's a really good. I wouldn't call it. It's not like a full length documentary. It's like maybe a 20-minute long YouTube video, but it's about the process of Paramount trying to restore the Godfather trilogy, because the film had degraded so much that they had to find all of the original 35 millimeter negatives, and once they did track them down, they were like super super degraded. The colors were like almost completely gone. Um, and they had to do this big undertaking to restore it for, I believe it was the 50th anniversary, the 40th or the 50th anniversary, which was when it came out on 4K Blu-ray and when streaming updated it to 4K. It's really cool. If I can find the link, I will leave it in the description. I would highly recommend checking it out. Even if you're not a fan of The Godfather, it's a cool look at like how films in general are archived now. It is really interesting. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I will let you give your personal review of the movie, your final score.
All right. Well, as someone who's read both the book and watched the movie, I can confidently say this movie is a five-star movie, in my opinion. Just an expertly crafted film, which is very faithful to the adaptation of the book as well. And that's something I also appreciate from the studio. And also, I mean, Mario Puzo helped write both the book and the script. So having him work on the film is just that nice extra touch. But like I said, this is just a five-star film and one of the best crime movies ever made.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those cases where it's really hard to beat the original, unless you're the Godfather too, in which case maybe. Um, but no, I got to
We'll
agree
save
with
that for
you.
another review.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen it recently enough anyway to comment. But no, I'm also gonna go a 5 out of 5. I have not read the book, but it is it's just it's got the sauce, man. There, again, I have nothing to say that you haven't already said. It's just you have an all-star cast. Even if they weren't considered all-star back then, they are now in modern hindsight. It established so many filmmaking tropes now, and I say like that is not a bad thing. Like the fact that it popularized, we just had a whole rant about the goddamn cat. Like it popularized stuff like that. It's just, and again, I think for me, the thing I like about it most is what we talked about earlier about the pacing. Like, yes, it's a 3 hour movie, and yes, there's not a lot of action in it, but it still has a steady run of like adrenaline for the whole 3 hours, whether it's an action shootout or just you're wondering like what's going to happen when in the very beginning when that dude's asking Marlon Brando to kill his kill the dude who assaulted his daughter. Like it's just a steady feel of tension throughout it that I I can't put it into words. I really like that. So yeah, I'm going 5 out of 5.
Right, you heard it, folks. Our official review for The Godfather 1 is going to be a 5 out of 5. Tune in
Which
next
makes
week,
it
and
our
here's a little
first five out of
teaser.
five movie. Like like shared rating, our first like 5 out of 5 screening room podcast rating.
Yep. All right.
But oh no, sorry, keep going. I'm cutting you off.
No, 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 no. Go on. You're good.
I was just gonna leave them with a little teaser for our next episode here, like always.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
And with that, that is a now you kind of have a little hint at what's coming next. You have any closing remarks that you wanna put out there before we end this off?
Thank you for joining us, and always remember, leave the gun, but take the cannoli.
Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And like Mike said, leave the gun, take the cannoli.